Alright guys, TJHaLy here again today. Thanks for 13,000 subscribers once again. Not sure exactly when I'm going to make this video live, so hopefully I haven't missed any rumours or anything. I'll probably make it live Tuesday with any thinking, but I'm recording this the day before because it's difficult for me to find time otherwise. So today I wanted to talk about Huke. I wanted to bring this discussion back around to some rumours that we've had recently around the EnVy team, but also back to the Black Ops 4 season and even before that, because we talked about it when Huke got loaned out from EnVy to Splice. This team should be great, it should be dominant. They didn't have the results, and the talk at the time was, and I made it very clear, that if this team doesn't have much success, eyes are going to be laying on Huke as to, well, are you a toxic or are you not able to adapt your playstyle to different teams, whatever the case may be. So I thought I'd have that discussion today, and I would let you guys give your thoughts in the comment section below, because this is a very interesting one. Is Huke overrated? Is a big question right now. I'll try and come to a conclusion towards the end of the video what my personal feelings are, but yeah, we'll weave our way through all the things that have happened over the last few years to get ourselves to maybe we can give an answer to that question, but I'm sure you guys will have different thoughts in the comment section below. Feel free to leave them as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. So yeah, like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. And just to go through a couple of these tweets then, so Paddy P. Eggs of course tweets out the other day, with the 2019 season coming to an end, I'm a restricted free agent for 2020. Let's not forget he was on EnVy this past season with Huke for a fair amount of time, so he is not going to be on EnVy or the Dallas spot next season. Of course, there are rumours that Huke is going to be on the Dallas spot with Gunless on the team. Maybe Scump will come into the fray, but of course the rumours around that have been going up and down the last few days. There's been other people like Arcites brought into the mix. Of course, they're going to need some sort of assault rifle. When he did that thing where he took E United out his bio yesterday, that kind of got people's well, it perked people's attention towards that, let's put it that way. But yeah, maybe that's not the case. Whatever, it's clear that Aches isn't going to be on the EnVy team, the Dallas, whatever it's going to be called next season. And neither is Assault. He says the same thing, restricted free agent. So EnVy and Hastro and those guys have got rid of these players, and they are going to be looking to build around Huke once again. He has been their golden boy, their golden child, whatever you want to call it, for the last, well, probably 2.5, 3 years-ish, since he moved on to EnVy back in the Halo days. We'll go on to have a look at that in a second. So Assault's going to be off the team. The same thing is said by Fargo, Silly, of course, and Bevel says the same thing as well. So pretty much the team is being cleared out. Decimate, as when I'm recording this video, Decimate has not tweeted about it. If he has by the time that this video goes live, then I will make that known in the pinned comment, but as of now he hasn't done a tweet about it. So maybe, considering all the other guys have, Decimate is a guy they're considering to keep on the team, and I know that the way this team revolves, it's pretty much around Huke. Whatever Huke says goes. They give Huke the power to control and bring in whoever he wants pretty much. And so yeah, if he wants to play with Decimate and sees a lot of talent in Decimate and have that as another fellow young gun on the team, then maybe that's a way to go. Of course, you know, teams like this tend to, especially in 5v5, you tend to need like an in-game leader to be a very successful team. If you're thinking about bringing in Gunless and Scump, then maybe as your fifth, if you are going to keep Huke and Decimate, then maybe you need some other players. But then again, if you get a good, you know, experienced coach and you have a lot of analysts and all the staff around that, then maybe that isn't as big a deal. But of course, I guess the topic of discussion is whether you need an in-game leader can be saved for another day. So it's clear they're building around Huke. They're going to keep him on the squad. He's been on the squad for, you know, ages now, and this is a comment I saw on Reddit, or at least a comment thread, and I thought, okay, this is pretty interesting. A lot of upvotes on this one, so I thought it's worthy of discussion. Another season building around Huke equals another season of overhyped averageness. So very interesting comment, and to be honest, this comment is very justifiable over the last 2 seasons. Now, whether you are going to say that Huke is obviously a great talented player, whether you are going to say that he hasn't had the results he should have had, is down to his team or is down to something about his individual play, it's difficult to say, because back in the day, a few years ago, if Huke could have gone, like, if Huke was playing back in the Black Ops 2 Ghost days and he was this good, but he hadn't had as much success, then I think you would be justified in saying that that was around him as an individual, maybe not being the best fit for a lot of teams. However, nowadays, it's so difficult to form a championship caliber, a championship winning team. It's very difficult to do. The competition is so high that there is an element to which I am prepared to give some sort of leeway to Huke in having teammates that he hasn't really got along with or whatever. He hasn't played with too many different people over the last year, although he has played with a lot of talented players, and none of the teams have worked. So, you know, at some point you have to ask the question, to what degree Huke is responsible in this? And you'd be very justified in saying that he is. And it's somewhat difficult to argue otherwise right now, but I do think there is an element to which it's very difficult to build a team that is super successful, and I guess we should maybe give him some more time. So, some more responses. Huke is insanely talented, no doubt, but he's the fraction of what casters and analysts make him out to be. This is another key point, to be honest, from my opinion. Like, Huke is insanely gassed by all of the pros, and lately a lot of, you know, fans and the like have been commenting on videos saying that Huke's overrated, he's not as good as people say he is. Okay, fair enough, like that's definitely justifiable, but then we have to look at why exactly is he so gassed by the pros? Why are pros constantly jumping at the opportunity to play with him in like tens and you know, play with him on the franchise squad next year on this EnVy team if they are to get a load of talented players? The pros really like Huke and really think he's a great player, so there must be a reason for that. And you know, the analysts are former pros that have played with him before, they feel the same way, so there must be a reason to it. And you know, we talk about this, he was a fraction of what the casters and analysts made him out to be. Like, I feel like a lot of that comes about with what results you get. Let's have a look at Gunless this last season. Gunless on the whole, if you look at the season as a whole and you're going to say, where was Gunless in terms of player rankings? People aren't going to put him near the top 10. But, or like, okay, he might be near the top 10, he might be just in the top 10, but people have long forgotten about how good Gunless was towards the start of the season and on that Luminosity Gaming team. He goes on to EnVy, doesn't play as well towards the end of the season, doesn't have as good of results, and, you know, all of a sudden people have completely forgot how good Gunless was at the start of the season and how incredible he has been as a player for the last few years. Recency bias is a big factor. So of course, with EnVy not having good results towards the end of the season, with Huke not having good results on EnVy or Splice the entirety of the season, apart from I think London they came like top 6 where it was decent, people, of course, are going to overlook the kind of performances that Huke's putting up. When we have a look at his statistics in a second, his stats are really, really good. And, you know, obviously, the team in Splice, when he went on to Splice, didn't do so well. Temp's stats dropped off slightly. So you can definitely make a claim that with Huke and the team, Temp couldn't have as much impact as he was having before. That shows that Huke is, you know, failing to adapt his playstyle, whatever. But in terms of, you know, his performances as an entry SMG have still been phenomenal in terms of statistics the entire year. He just hasn't had the results. So whether we're going to put that down to his teammates, and which maybe is fair enough, whether we're going to put that down to him not adapting or being, you know, poor communication, toxic element to his character, which I really don't think there is, but people have said it, so I might as well mention it at the very least. You know, it's all on... It's all on you. So some other comments here. Thought I'd move onwards here for now. So these are his results in the Halo days. Let's make sure this is the correct size. Okay, that'll do. So this is all tournaments, offline and online. He did win this LAN, UGC St. Louis 2016, when he was on this Truce team. Then he got picked up straight onto EnVy at the start of 2017. So it's pretty much been 2.5 years since he's been EnVy's golden boy. Came third at this event and then you won these online qualifiers, even though I don't think he ever played at the World Championship. For whatever reason, not really sure, maybe he was too young or something, and then he came back to Call of Duty. These are his results from early in the Call of Duty days. So back in the Ghosts Advanced Warfare days, Huke incredibly hyped, and for good reason. Look at all these, so this is just LAN events this time. Look at all of these second places he had. UMG Orlando, UMG Cali, Stage 2 playoffs, Washington DC, World Finals, you know, second in all of these tournaments, couldn't quite get over the hump, playing with Temp, Crowder and Slasher. People thought this kid was insane, and he definitely was. I didn't really watch Call of Duty that much at the time, but I've gone back and watched some of these gameplays. Huke was another animal back in the day on Advanced Warfare. And, you know, coming into the more recent titles, let's have a look here at World War II and, you know, Black Ops 4. Let's make sure this is the correct size. Okay, that fits on the screen pretty damn nicely. You know, he went back with the same team. Slasher, Temp, and Classic didn't have good results. Look at all these on the left. The best they got was a 4th at Atlanta. You know, there's not as much silver, and, you know, the only silver is this, like, CoD challenge or whatever. He hasn't made a grand finals. They came 4th at London, excuse me. It wasn't a top 6. It was actually a 4th when they had this Pharaoh, Egg Silly, Decimate team. Decimate and Huke were going off that event. Bev was his coach, of course. They've switched up the roster a lot around EnVy. They've kept him satisfied by sending him over to this Spice team, which he wanted to do for a little bit. And of course, the results there weren't as good either. So we look through these teams and we're thinking, well, he's played with a lot of different players over the course of the last year or so, a couple of years, and he hasn't had anywhere near the success he had back in Advanced Warfare, hasn't managed to win a championship, but he has done it in Halo. He definitely doesn't crumble under pressure, because he's done it in Halo. Maybe he would if he made another grand final. There might be some nerves there, but he's made plenty of grand finals in the past. I don't really think that's an issue for him. It's not a matter of getting over the hump. It's just a matter of maybe proving that he is the talent that he is hyped up to be. Like when we look at these teams in Black Ops 4, Pharaoh was okay this year, Silly was okay, Eggs was not particularly good, Decimate was really good at the start of the year, but not so good. Like, even when we're looking at these teams and we're seeing 4th at London, we're thinking, well, is that really ever going to be a championship contending team? To what degree can you really blame Huke? It's tough to say. Now, this Splice team, it's a different story, because when he went onto this Splice team, I thought, well, this team on paper should be nasty, and it's difficult to say exactly why they weren't. At the World Champ, it's probably just a clash of egos that Looney couldn't keep under wraps this time around, because Looney honestly was a great player this year. Aqua was really good on the assault rifle towards the end, played at a great fast pace. Temp and Huke put up great numbers at champs. They both had like 1.15, 1.2 KDs, but even though saying that, they did destroy people in their pool, so it's a little bit of a different story. On the whole, Jerd had a pretty poor by his standards latter half of the year. So, they didn't have a great result. Now, they only played a few events, a couple of events, a little bit of the league. To what degree can you blame that on Huke? It's on you guys to decide, to be honest. My personal perception is, let's just finish off here, so let's make sure this is the correct size. That will just about do. This is courtesy of a Reddit user. I'll link that down below, because he did a great job putting these together for every single player for the entire season. We see that Huke on EnVy or Spice hasn't come top 3 the entire season, but these are his stats. London and Anaheim, not so great, but the Pro League, playoffs and champs, ridiculous performances from Huke, to be honest, in terms of pure KD. 1.16 overall of the season with an SMG in hand. We really haven't had too much of an opportunity to watch him play and watch him see what he's capable of, because when you are watching him, you feel like, wow, this kid is on another level. But a lot of people haven't seen it so much because they haven't been making it deep in tournaments. But we look at damage per round, we look at damage per minute, score per minute, KD ratios, considering his performances as an SMG and his roles, these are pretty damn good statistics, and it's difficult to take that away from him. So, this is on you guys now. Be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, as always. Huke is going to be built around, again, on this EnVy team, on this Dallas whatever it's going to be called team next season. Which players they're going to get, who knows, but they're going to build around Huke. Is this his season to finally pull something off? Because the last 2 years of Call of Duty, maybe he hasn't had the best teammates, maybe he hasn't gelled best with them. There's probably a bit of both. My overall perceptions is that right now I don't think he's overrated, because, well, I would have thought he was overrated if I was seeing people constantly gas him up. But for the last several months, I've seen a lot of fans saying that he's overrated, basically. A lot of people saying that he's not as good as he's hyped up to be. And I'm sure there's a lot of comments on this video saying the same thing, which maybe says to me that if the community perception is that he's overrated, then maybe he actually isn't overrated, because there's a wide array of people in the community that think he is better, or that think that people think he is better than he actually is, which kind of says to me that maybe he's actually not overrated and his stock is coming down to about the correct level, which is my overall perceptions. But I do think that there is obviously something about his playstyle and his character, and maybe something like that is contributing to the lack of success, because the kind of players he's played with over the last few years, to not make a single top 3, it's difficult to keep making excuses event after event after event, right? So that's my overall conclusion of the video. Be interested to hear your thoughts down below, as always. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.